Hi, I'm Chris Bailey and I'm a Blender YouTuber at C Bailey Film. And today I'm doing this tutorial for CG Cookie. We're gonna give you the top 5 modeling tips that you need to make anything in Blender. Now today's tutorial, we're gonna be taking this handy dandy whiteboard marker and I'll be making it out of a cube using these top 5 modeling tools. If you haven't checked out cgcookie.com, there's amazing resources there. You can sign up for a free trial now. Let's go get started. The Bevel tool takes any edge and splits it and creates a new face. So if I hit Control B, which is the Bevel tool hotkey, you can see it splits this edge. I also get this drop down menu so I can increase the number of segments to create a nice rounded shape. I could change the shape to make it go convex or concave. So to get started with this model, I'm going to delete the top and bottom face, and then I'm going to select the edges on the outside. I'm going to hit Control B to bevel, and I'm going to drag my mouse. I'm going to come here and I'm going to turn clamp overlap off to get rid of that overlapping section. And I'm going to decrease my segments. I don't need 12. The next tool we're going to use is the merge tool. Now you merge things all the time when you create a model. And this is a great example. You might think this is a perfect cylinder, but in reality, right here, you can see we've actually got a double vertex. And that happened with the clamp overlap. If we want to clean that up, we're going to need to hit A to select all, and then we're going to type M for merge, and we're going to go merge by distance. That you can see has removed 8 vertices. You can increase the distance here if you want to, if they're a bit further apart. But that has cleaned up our geometry a great deal and isn't going to cause any problems down the road. Now I'm just going to take this top ring and I'm going to bring it up. Now the next tool that we're going to use is everyone's favorite, Extrude. Now I'm going to use Extrude to extrude these vertexes inward. So I'm going to hit E to activate the Extrude tool, and then hit S to scale, and I'll drag in to scale in. I'm going to hit E again and grab up. So G and then Z to lock it on the Z plane, and then I'll hit E again and then S for scale, and I'll drag this out. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to build off the clip off the side. To do that, I'm going to use the next tool, which is the loop cut tool. It's technically called the loop cut and slide tool, but I always think of it as the loop cut tool. So hit Control R and it'll bring this yellow loop will appear. And you can roll your mouse wheel to increase the number of loops. We're basically going to be cutting our faces with this tool. So I can click to cut, and then I can drag up and down to slide it. And I'm going to bring this up here like so. Now the edge of the cap has this kind of flat section here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my faces and I'll just add that in. So I'll just shift select these, and I'm going to hit S to scale, and on X to lock it on the X plane, and 0 to scale all of them to 0 on the X plane. That flattens them right out. Now I can hit G to grab, and X to lock it on X, and just drag it out a little bit so it lines up here. Next I can grab this top row, hit E to extrude, and grab it on the X to bring it out. So hit Control R again for another loop cut, grab these faces in face mode, E to extrude, grab, and Z, and bring it down. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the loop cut and the bevel tool together to create the ridges that are in the cap. So we can make those pretty easily by hitting Control R, and then I'm going to drag my mouse wheel up, and then I'm going to hit Escape to exit the tool, and then S to scale, and Z to lock it on the Z plane, and just bring them down like that, and then grab with G, and then Z to lock it in, and bring them up like this, and then I'm going to hit Control B to bevel while everything's still selected. Now, when I'm beveling, it's going to reuse the same settings that we had last time, so I need to decrease the number of segments just down to 1 again, because I don't need that many. And then I'm going to hit E with everything still selected to extrude those, hit Escape, and then I'm going to hit S to scale. And a bonus trick, if you hit Shift and then select either X, Y, or Z, it will not scale along whatever it is that you selected. So if I hit Shift Z, it will just scale along the X and the Y. So I can bring that in like that. This last section here, this little hole, I'll show you a little bonus tip. If you hold down the Alt key and click on some edges, you get a loop selection. So just like making the loop cut with Control R, you can get a loop selection by holding down Alt and clicking on an edge loop. It'll select that whole loop. To fill this, you could be tempted to just fill it up by hitting E to extrude and then scaling it all the way down and then merging the vertexes, which is what we've already done. But a much better way, and something you'll end up using a lot to fill in sections, is the grid fill tool. And that's going to be our next tool. To get the grid fill to activate, I'm going to hit F3 to bring up my search menu, and I'll type in grid and I'll go to grid fill. And I'll hit that and it will activate. Now with the span, you can actually change the number of cuts. So you can decrease it down and you can see it just has these lateral cuts here, and then offset rotates it. So you can create some really great stuff, really clean geometry with this. I'm gonna keep it with 8. And I'm also gonna use simple blending. And what simple blending is gonna do is it's gonna not distort the mesh as much. Now to finish off our visual image, we wanna shade smooth so that it doesn't look faceted like it is now. So I'll just do that. And you can see now it looks really gross. Why is that? Well, it's because we don't have enough geometry. And so the last thing we wanna do just to polish this up is just add a few modifiers on. And this is something you'll do pretty much with every model. You'll add a subsurface modifier, which smooths it all out. Now that just increases the amount of subdivisions that it makes. So what is it doing? It's actually taking all of the faces, all of our geometry, and it's subdividing them. So it's making more faces out of them. Now to get rid of this sort of blobby look, if we go into edit mode, what we need to do is basically create bevels for all of our hard edges. And that will help tell the subdivision surface modifier how to behave. So if I select all these, for example, and hit Control B, and just drag just a little bit, you can see right away, it looks much nicer. It's how we want it to look. There's actually a much easier way to do that, and that's actually just to use the bevel modifier, which works across the entire mesh. So if I bring up my bevel modifier, put it first, right up here, and then set my limit method to angle, that will mean it will create a bevel wherever two faces meet, but only if the angle between them is greater than 30 degrees. So 90-degree angle, it'll create a nice little bevel for us. And you can see that it's done that there. It's really strengthened up our mesh. Now you might disagree and have your own opinion of what are the top 5 modeling tools. Let us know in the comments. Give us your top 5 list and tear down ours systematically. Thank you, YouTube. In the meantime, subscribe to the YouTube channel here and like this video. Leave us a comment. Thanks so much for watching this video. I will catch you in the next tutorial.